Hall of Fame, another one?
Everybody, it's bench starters today. I'm Noel.
James, man.
We have a topic today that's kind of divisive. This is gonna be our first one where I feel like we're gonna have a whole lot of feedback, differing opinions, things like that on this video. Today we're gonna be discussing different eras of basketball. Obviously basketball has been around for 100 plus years now. A lot of changes have come and gone. But a big debate I feel like today is, people bringing up the 80s and the 90s and even parts of the 2000s versus today's basketball. What basketball looks like, how it's played, the different players. Feel like some of the older folks feel like some of the younger folks don't have respect for the game. They don't really. It's just a different era, and I've decided I want to air these grievances for my old heads, and I also want to give them a little bit of feedback coming from. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle, like I'm not so old that I'm out of touch with the game today. Obviously, I'm very entrenched, but I'm not so young that I don't know my history, and I haven't seen enough basketball.
Okay, I like that, man.
But yeah, that's kind of the debate I kind of want to have. I kind of want to speak to start. I want to speak to what the feedback I got from the various when I asked the question on Facebook. And kind of I have three themes, I guess, that I got from those people. The first one I kind of want to go into with you is, so a lot of older folks feel like the kids today they're too soft. They call too many fouls, too much flopping, just in general soft. What do you think about that? Being a coach.
Being a coach, man, I think that just comes from with every generation. I think everybody thinks the next generation is just a little softer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's really can someone really be soft when everybody's like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if everybody's the same way, I can't really say that's soft. But I do have I think coaching is so different now. Like, I mean, even then, if you look back at the best coaches, they weren't the raw coaches. Some of the best coaches weren't the raw coaches. Some of them were trying to
actually teach and make kids understand.
Yeah, or pros or college athletes. You know what I'm saying? So I think like nothing is new.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I coach, I'm not I don't like yelling. I don't like that. My coaches yelled a little bit, but I never was a person I kind of grasp stuff quick. So it's I didn't really have to get yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
And I always played hard, so I never had to get yelled at playing hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think kids to this day feel more entitled.
Mm-hmm.
Not softer, but I feel like they're more entitled to stuff, and maybe that's just how they're raised.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great point. That's that entitlement. Some kids, they just feel I don't have to do anything to earn this. What my rebuttal to that would be to the older generation that feels that way is, for every kid that you show me that is entitled, that maybe he isn't as good as he thinks he is, I can show you 10 other kids who are hard workers, who
tough
feel, and and I'm just like you. I feel like there's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing.
I think people are getting caught up in ratios. They think each generation is less kids that are willing to work hard and practice their craft and who have humility and are willing to work for what they feel like they deserve. Like I said, you can show me kids that who are like that, who aren't like that, who don't work hard, who just want everything given to them. I can show you kids that go really hard for are willing to grind to get.
Yeah, for sure.
So for sure. I don't quite agree on the you're soft. The kids today they're all soft. They don't know anything about And another thing is the generation that's calling these kids soft, like they're the ones that made the rules for the game today. The people who were governing the NBA right now were players back then, who made the rules because the game was getting too rough. Like you could literally end somebody's career if they're in the air and you feel like shoving them because you didn't slide your feet on defense. Now you're about to get dunked on. So you know what I'm saying? Like they made those rules in order to make the game safer. So of course you're gonna have more foul calls because you can't just do some of the things you used to do back then. So
and then on that note as well, like I feel like, you know, if you think the game is softer, it's also about how the game's officiated. Mm-hmm. Like, so, I mean, to be honest, when Noah put this up, I've watched about, since I told you, like, I got to do my homework about it. I probably watched anything past, like, 98. I probably watched as much videos as I can, or game film, like, actual game on YouTube, like, it's a full game, because I don't think highlights do it, and compilations don't do it either. So don't just go to fight compilations, because it just don't work. So I watched games, and it's like, you know, guys can, you know, used to be able to bicker a little bit, and so I don't feel it's so much that it's so much about the players not wanting to do it, but I think sometimes I'm not about to get a technical foul if I know if I'm saying something to him, I'm about to get a tech. I'm not doing like
that. Cost your team.
Your team. If you get so many, you have to sit out a game. It probably affects your money. It's not worth it.
Exactly. Those are some of the things you have to think about as far as being a player. Like maybe not so much if you're a fan of the game, that's not your concern. But there's other factors that go into those business decisions that you make.
Oh, facts.
I'm not gonna go that direction with it. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the soft part of it. It's like you can say that about kids today, but also not to get philosophical, but every generation life is supposed to get easier for you. Like we have technology, things are supposed to be made easier, more accessible to you. The longer the human race is on Earth, like I said, not to get philosophical. The longer the human race is on Earth, the easier life is supposed to get. So that's kind of how I feel about that. So it's like I feel you, bro. I feel you. All right. So the second bullet point I got up is we have what we call nowadays highlight tapes and mixtapes and hoop mixtape, and we got Yay Area's Finest, and we got Ball is Life, and all these kids it's a platform for these kids to get their game and make it global. Like, I seen that this kid he's over in Louisiana and he's really good. I think I want to check out his journey. So that's just a platform for these kids.
Yeah.
It also showcases a little bit of the not so good side of these kids. Like it's a highlight tape, so you're amped, you're celebrating, you talking your cash, you saying what you gotta say. I'm the best player on the court, blase, blase, blase. When somebody sees that, it comes off as, he's selfish. That's a me first attitude. What are you doing? Like nobody wants to see that. Just get back on defense. And I know that's a old man get off my yard type argument. But I'm kind of in the middle with, like, I kind of agree, like, all right, it goes overboard. It's a point it goes overboard. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel?
Oh, man. From coaching younger kids, boy, it does get tough because I think, you know, it's so hard to, even when kids are playing just pickup basketball or scrimmaging, they're still trying to go for the highlight stuff. And there's no cameras there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to be like, they're trying to see something that they do, which is tight. But like, think like when we were growing up, we saw something. Yeah, like I think hoop mixtapes just got big when I was like a sophomore. Like that stuff really.
It was like 2006 when Ball is Life was like a thing for me.
Yeah. Oh, okay, you see, so like for me, like 2009 or something like that, like 2010, like like John Wall, DeMar DeRozan was already in college, I think by that time, or he was. But then, like, you know, when I start watching them, So most of the time I'm playing, but I'm watching college games. I'm watching NBA games. So I'm trying to, like, actually in the middle, like watching a game, like this is how I'm gonna get better. Highlight tapes were just cool because
It's cool to look at.
I'm looking at John Wall like, okay, dog, I know I'm not this fast, so I'm not gonna do none of this stuff.
It's just good to look at.
Yeah, so as a coach, as a young coach right now, and for coaching younger guys, they do kind of get in the point where they're always they're trying to do the highlight stuff, but it's funny because like I know my dad's probably watching, but he's trying to tell me, he's like, man, I wish you didn't have your like just tell your younger brother not to talk trash. The only thing is, my dad talks trash when we play.
Who's the most famous? Who's the best player of all time? I'll just go ahead and tell you, by large opinion of the population,
Jordan.
It's Michael Jordan. Guess what? He was one of the best of all time at doing
trash talking.
Trash talking. There wasn't any he's famous for it.
And my dad talks to cash. I talk cash. I mean, bro, you know me. It's hard for me to tell a kid not to talk trash. But with my other little brother Rob, who plays at KCK, he'll get into it. I remember coaching him, man, and he'll get into it with players. I used to tell him bro, if you're gonna go out there, you have to kill him though. So he'll go out there. There's a guy like, you're a bum, and Rob always loves saying, you just a bum. That's his trash talk. You're a bum, and he just go kill him.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So it's always about there's always been trash talkers. There's nothing new.
There's nothing.
It's just now it's highlighted. And high school kids doing it.
It's on video. When we say too much celebration, it's you guys in the NBA and hell, even in college, they're going, when it comes to basketball, they're going to celebrate. They're going to fist pump. They're going to talk. They're going to say, it's me. I did that. I'm better than you.
Yeah,
that's
a player.
That's a part of the bravado that's basketball. That's why the generation loved your Larry Birds. That's why you loved your Dr. J's. You loved your Jordans, because they were a character as well as being the best on the court.
Player, yeah.
So
that's what comes with the lore.
Exactly. That's why, so when I see that, it's just I understand they're kids, but at the same time, that comes with the territory. There's not a lot of Kawhis running around. There's just not. He's different. He's just a different guy.
Yeah, he's his own human being.
Exactly.
So you can never, but at the same time, there's a thing where some kids just don't back up and they can be trash talking. But to me, then that's why I tell them, man, you gotta chill, bro, because as a coach, I'll let people know, bro, you're not really doing too much to be out here trash talking.
Exactly. So I settle down, and we can just say that. We can just
play the game. Just play the game. Now, I mean, you don't have to trash talk to everybody. If you know that your skill level is better, I mean, you think about it. In the NBA, they're talking trash to a person who's in 450 players in the NBA. So they're the 1%. So they're trash talking to people who are not maybe equally to their skill, because if you're but they're in that same category. You're in the NBA, you're the 1% of basketball world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different when you're 14 years old and you're killing another 14-year-old, and you just clearly you're just the better player. And everybody can see it. 10 out of 10, if it's a poll, you're the better player.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just go out there and just handle your business. But if someone that you feel is equal to you and they're saying something to you, you're yeah, for sure, talk your cash. If they're saying something, but you have to back it up.
Exactly.
As a trash talker, then you have to back that shit up.
Exactly. And so
have to.
So part of the game is really all it is. Now my third one, this one is pretty. It was the main. The soft one was pretty. That was one that was on my Facebook feed that was the most. But I feel what everybody agreed with was technically how the game is played today.
Okay.
So we're talking about there's too many 3-pointers, not enough people getting down in the post and scoring that way. Not enough fundamentals. It's everybody going for the highlight play or what looks the best instead of what's most effective. When it comes to that, for one thing, the too much 3-pointers. There's just no such thing as too many 3-pointers right now, just because when you do the math on it, like, and I know people hate analytics. Absolutely hate analytics. I get it. I understand. I also understand there needs to be a happy medium between everything.
Yeah.
You can take what analytics is saying and apply it and not go overboard with it.
For sure.
So like when people are saying there's too many 3-pointers, if it's a good shot for you and that's what you work on and that's what you do, like
that's your job.
Then shoot the 3-pointer, because it not only do you get 3 points off of it if you're making it, you're going to be open when you're taking these 3-pointers. It spreads the floor. It makes the game. It makes like offense. It cleans up the game basically.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of. I mean, we can talk James Harden. He takes a lot of free throws. That's well and good. People have differing opinions on James Harden, but like I feel like it cleans up the game. It makes it more free flowing. It makes it look better. I honestly feel like you can't really have too many 3-pointers if they're being made at a decent clip and you're winning.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the. So then this is where I when we were talking on, and I was also reading some of the comments. This is where I want to go with this, and you might man, that's really dope. So every era has had a different type of basketball. So right now we're just in a heavy era of just super spaced, shooting a lot of threes. Point guards are super dominant right now. They're scoring. Like there's a lot more scoring point guards than there were probably ever.
Yeah.
You know, if Stephon Marbury was in this, he'd be held to a whole nother standard.
Yep.
Whole nother standard. So this is what I was gonna say like about this. I think I saw someone talking about James Harden. So I'm watching 1970s. They're playing. It's Lakers versus I can't remember, man. It sucks that I don't remember. But I'm watching the Knicks game. Mm-hmm. Walt Frazier. Now, once again, I didn't live in the era. I didn't probably watch enough clips. But the same thing that I see James Harden do, pump fake, get someone in the air, and they jump into it. What I see Walt Frazier do, pump fake, jump in the air, shoot. And guess what he's doing? Shooting free throws. There's truly nothing new in the game. I'm watching. This is the Lakers, I think. I'm watching. I want to say Jerry West shooting turnaround jump shots. Like so, there's nothing. Like there's nothing new in the game. So it's like. It's just so I'm watching players complain about calls in 97. Mm-hmm. Somehow that's a fact. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when people say like the game is softer, is like we're totally different. It's really nothing new. Like people still complain. People still quote unquote flopped or whatever you guys want to call it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But if a refs call it, they call it. Another thing I want to express, like if that's how the style of the game is today. And this is when I say I'm choosing both sides on this. There's some players in the past, like greatness always translates. So, I mean, of course, if you put someone like Jerry West and he's doing all the athletic stuff, you tell me he can't be good.
With today's training and stuff like that.
Because he still had the thing of wanting to be one of the best players. Like, so at some point in time, he'll still be a great player. Maybe not to the level as a logo, but you know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. But, there's some players like right now, like there's a lot of guys who are 3-and-D wings who really aren't really good defenders. Mm-hmm. They just spread the floor. Mm-hmm. Some guys who are playing in the league right now and they're playing 17 years off of just shooting threes, they probably would not made it past because they couldn't play any defense. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, where I want to go with this is like, remember the game is different. It's revolutionary. Different rules. You can dribble the ball totally different as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they used to not be able to put the ball on the side of their hand. Mm-hmm. So there's some players, and I'm not gonna name names because it's just like, for one, like I don't want ever to think I'm taking a shot at a professional athlete because that's the least thing I'm doing. But there's some guys who are pick and roll centers. Do you think they really make the league when you're playing against Hakeem Olajuwon? You have Mark Eden, you have Patrick Ewing, you have Shaquille O'Neal, you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, those guys probably do not make the league or they don't stay in the league that long. Mm-hmm. Imagine Roy Hibbert. If Roy Hibbert was in the 80s, he plays 15 years.
Exactly. And that's one that my uncle, he commented on, my Uncle Lawrence. He's always asking me, like, what happened to Roy Hibbert? Why is he not? I'm like, Unc, he's just not good. Like, he's not good in this era. In this era. He doesn't have skills for this era.
It's so much not about the skill part, but if you put Roy Hibbert in a pick and roll you're going to win that game. And they're going to keep going to it because he cannot move laterally. He's not that athlete. He's not Anthony Davis. He's not like the Mitchell Robinson. Like, he's not like Willie Cauley-Stein. Like, he's not that athlete.
He doesn't move his feet. He doesn't move.
He can't. Like, I mean, that's not his build.
Yeah.
That's not his build. Like, he wasn't blessed with that gazelle type build. But you put him in the 80s, who knows?
Who knows what happened? He's 7'2". He's tall. He has touch of some sort. He has some sort of offensive footwork. You never know what could happen when you put him in that area.
Yeah.
So
think about all the behemoths that the NBA had in the 80s and 90s. The behemoths. We still have tall guys, but they're not the 7'2", like 280, 290, 300, 310. We don't have that. Because the game is so different now. I mean, you have Boban, but even the thing about Boban back then, oh my goodness, like, and you still going playing 35 minutes because the game's slower, the pace is slower, so it's not just a sprint. So
exactly.
Yeah, there's positions, there's players in the past who does not have a chance, zero chance of playing in NBA today. But there's players in this league who's in the same bet in the same way. It's like, if you play basketball the way you do now, and with the lesser rules and stuff like that, you're probably
Isaiah
not.
Thomas would not be averaging 30 points a game right now. I'm telling you right now, in those type of that, like the 80s and 90s where you're able to grab somebody, shove, push, do whatever you want. You're not getting those shots off. It would be very tough for him to average 30. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't be effective. Like we said, we're not taking no shots at any professional athlete.
Yeah.
It would be much tougher for him to get 30 a game than it was when he did average it a couple years ago.
It was a different rule. I mean, I still think he's a motherfucker. So
no, he's a dog.
Yeah,
he's a dog. Like, he still would be in the league. He would be scoring. I would just say it would be tough for him to get 30 a game.
So I think that's the biggest thing for me is, like, as a young guy, I also have to look at our game and see, like, it's nothing about toughness. It's not, because I feel like
you adjust to your era.
Yeah.
You adjust whatever era you grew up in, you adjust to the rules that were played that time.
And then you might not make it.
Exactly.
Like, so, I mean, let's be for real. Like, I mean, we have centers who are right now 6'9", 210 because it's small ball. Like,
exactly.
Bro, David Robinson's probably gonna put 50 on your head. Or
David Robinson's gonna.
Patrick Ewing's tough. Like, I saw that stuff about Charles Oakley talking about Patrick Ewing wasn't soft or anything, but was soft. But, like, yeah, dog, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But dog, like, those guys are monsters. There's monsters in the past. Like, do I think Michael Jordan wins 6 rings in his era? No, but do I think he wins scoring championships and he's going to put up 40, 38. Like, he's going nuts in his era. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's still, like, kind of the one-on-one defense and stuff like that he played in. But imagine not having a power forward and a center there every time.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get to the cup and, like,
imagine those dunks.
Now, I will say, because me and Josh talked about this, actually yesterday we talked about this. What we will say is, now, while we don't have the guys that were as big as they used to be, athleticism is at an all-time high. We have 6'5", 6'6" dudes that literally can jump out of the gym. So we have athletes on athletes. So it's like, is it going to be really easier to score, or is it going to be tougher because we have somebody who's a Michael Jordan build and athletic enough to stay in front of him and jump with him? Like, who knows what actually happens in this era? We do know greatness.
Black Jesus going for 40. The skill was crazy too.
Crazy. That's what I'm saying. We're not saying that he obviously he's one of the most skilled players of all time. We're saying somebody who is as, like, athletic as him, and maybe
going at him back at him, so like that. So
maybe to defend him. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the skill level is obviously going to be different. But yeah. So, and my final point, this one's kind of funny. It's just, I don't mean to, like, go at people, but this is it's a moment of reflection, basically. So when we like coach these kids, and we're mad at them. We're in that mode of God dang, these kids. What's wrong with kids today? You know, we all have that moment where we're coaching. Like we try to remain objective as possible.
For sure.
But like we have that moment. You got to think like what kind of like kid were you in those positions? Like who were you on the court? Because I see a lot of people complain about these kids, but were you that coachable? Were you that kid that stuck his nose in there and played hard? Were you that kid that did exactly what the coach told you to do? Were you that kid that boxed out every time? Because I wasn't that kid. Like I wasn't perfect like that, or else I would be somewhere else. So I feel like sometimes we gotta like ease up on some of these kids that like they're gonna grow into who they're gonna grow into.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, and it's so funny because I remember having a tough time with some of my middle schoolers this year, and you know, this is different demographic, you know, different age group and stuff like that. So we're practicing, and I just told my dad, I was like, bro, I don't remember not having that much focus. Mm-hmm. Like, and then I asked my mom, she's like, nah, that wasn't you at all. So, but now there's times when I wouldn't box out, or you know, I thought I was more athletic than some people, so I wouldn't box out, or you know, I never took stupid shots. I was always almost super unselfish, like to a point where so basically
you're not gonna do, man.
But
made mistakes.
No, for sure. Yeah. I made mistakes, but then there is times when I'd be like, okay, I know I worked my ass off. Mm-hmm. Like every practice, I always wanted to go to practice. There was never a point in time I did not want to go to practice. I'm telling you, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. So for me, like, yeah. But once again, like, was I the person who always boxed out? Now, I always try to win sprints, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's other stuff that, like, when I do see kids, I'm like, I know for sure James Thornton, I tried that. Now, was I the most skilled and all that stuff? No, not for real. Like, did I know how to really work on my game to be the best? Nah, I was doing stuff like shooting around and shooting shots and shooting threes and, you know, like, was I doing stuff that, like, now that I teach my kids? Nah, because, I mean, once again, I was 13 years old, but one thing I always would say, like, but it's no matter what generation, there's always people who didn't work hard. Mm-hmm. Like, think about it. Like, you probably have an uncle or you know your uncle's boys, something like that, who just did never work hard.
There's plenty of them walking around. So that was just mainly my point is, like, this generation is, like we said, nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new
The ratio isn't off. The kids aren't worse these days. Like, it's just a simple fact of you're now, if you're a coach or you're a ref or whatever position you're in, you're an adult, so you have experience that you can knowledge that you can pass on, and you see that maybe they're not following it, or maybe that's just them being a kid, and as opposed to them, like, they can't be fully formed adults and know exactly what you're talking about all the time. So like you just kind of give them some slack there.
Have to all of it.
And as opposed to the actual NBA game today it's just a different generation. It's not anything that's worse or there's less skill or anything like that. It's just a different game than it was 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, so. and when I'll say, like, you know, about the NBA part, the game is different. Like, there's different eras. There's ISO heavy era. There's a motion offense era. Like, now we're kind of back into that more motion offense. Kind of exactly. It's kind of like a between the pick and roll but you know, I just want to say, like, you know, never disregard though of players in the past. 'Cause I think sometimes even the young people, like, in the Jordan documentary is about to come out tonight, so it's so cool. You know, I can't wait to watch it and see like what made him great. Like, I want to, you know, I know my dad's probably nostalgia, and you know, like my uncle's gonna have nostalgia watching it. But for me, it's gonna be like my first time actually getting like see Black Jesus that they called him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just want to see. So never discredit, because that's the one thing, like, I always hear young people say is like they discredit Bill Russell because they supposedly play against milkmans on like would you have done enough? Would your, like, you know what I'm saying, like, would your game been enough to be a professional back then as well? Like, you know what I'm saying, like, you might think yourself as right now, but you had to put yourself back in you being born in 1940, 50, 60, 70, and being in that, growing up in that era too.
Had to fight the whole civil rights movement in addition to dropping 30.
I'm probably going to be able to cross anybody in the 60s if I can put the ball like this. But are you going to be able to go by somebody keeping your hand on top of the ball? So it's crazy to think that, man. Like the rules change and players change. So
exactly. But yeah, man, that was it. I just wanted to kind of debate with you there. You know, see your thoughts there. I'm gonna tag everybody in this video, so make sure you watch it and give me your feedback on what you thought I got right, what you thought I got wrong, what you thought James got right, what you thought I got wrong. Just feel free to give us any type of feedback.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Give us all the feedback, man. We love the feedback. And then we're almost about 10 episodes in, and we do really appreciate everybody who does tune in all the time, or even if you only catch this video or another video before, we appreciate that. Just make sure you like us, go follow us on Twitter, and we'll put in our description and all that, and then
But
bench starters.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's our episode. Appreciate you watching, and we're out.
Damn, Hall of Fame, another one?